Hi everybody, today I'm talking about Circle the Wagons, which is a strictly two-player game by ButtonShy Games, designed by Stephen Aramini, Danny Devine and Paul Clucker. As you can see, this game comes in a little wallet, as all ButtonShy games do, and it consists of purely 18 cards, and the setup will look like this. I thought, rather than showing you my normal method of my ugly face, I thought I'd show you how it actually plays, because it's a rather simple game. So as you can see, the game is made up of 18 cards. That's the whole contents of the wallet, and you are going to do a very simple action on your turn. So mechanically, this game is very simple. The cards look like this. As you can see, that you've got kind of these four quadrants of all these different symbols and different terrain types. So I think there's 6 different terrain types and possibly 6 different symbols. However, at the start of the game, you're going to kind of surround these 3 cards in the middle, and these 3 cards are actually the opposite sides of the other cards. And they're going to have your kind of scoring criteria for this game. And obviously all these different cards have different scoring criteria on them. So the replayability of the game is absolutely massive, because you've got a different kind of, variability of scoring options from game to game. And obviously the idea of the game is to get as many points as you can by fulfilling these objectives. So say, for example, this one says happy cows. You're going to get 2 points per cow that is not adjacent to a snow territory. This one here says you're going to get 5 points for every kind of 4 wagons surrounding another card. And this one here, you're going to get, the player with the most beer loses 1 point for each beer their opponent has. So actually, sometimes these objectives really contrast with each other or really conflict with one another. So it very much is a puzzly style game. But what you're actually going to do on your turn is that the first player is going to choose any of these cards to start with. So let's say, for example, I don't know, I'm not thinking about this, but I choose this one. And I'll put it on my little tableau here, and then it'll be my opponent's go, and he can either choose any card kind of going clockwise to add to his tableau. However, if he chooses a card that is not the first one, so say for example he chose this one for one reason or another, the other remaining ones will go to the other player, and then the other player has to add those to his tableau. And the kind of placement rules are quite interesting in this one, because you can actually not only kind of add them like this or like this, you can actually overlap them as well. So you could go like that, or you could go like that, and then I don't know, like this, for example. No rhyme or reason to my placement there, but obviously as you're placing, you are trying to fulfill these objectives. And at the end of the game, as I said, you're not only going to get points for these objectives, you're also going to get points for your biggest kind of block of a certain type of territory. So in this case, because I've got 2 of these kind of prairies here, that would give me 2 points. And that would work for the same of each different terrain type in your biggest block. So you can get quite a bit of points that way, but often doing that will hinder your kind of potential for scoring these objectives. And that's going to be basically how the game plays out. So decision-wise, very simple, but actually quite interesting, because some of the games, you're trying to prevent your opponent getting certain types of cards, but sometimes you might want to skip ahead because you want to absolutely shaft your opponent by giving him loads of certain symbols that they might not want. So that's quite interesting. Mechanically perfectly smooth. Obviously you can see it's going to be a very quick game, because by the time it gets to here, the game is going to be over. So yeah, it's a very smooth game for 2 players. Quite weighty decisions and conflicting decisions as well. So yeah, almost a very interesting puzzle that's quite, that stretches you in quite a lot of different directions. Balance of the game is very interesting, as I said, because you've got that very much weighing up what you're going to give your opponent and what you're going to say for yourself. So yeah, the balance is excellent. Mechanically, perfectly smooth. Yeah, no issues with the mechanisms at all in this one. It just is right to the kind of core of the gameplay. Time investment wise, game takes about 10 minutes to 15 minutes to play, and yeah, it's great for that. I mean, there is not much of a kind of more meaty game you can get in that short time frame. So it does a great job of its time investment and uptime as well. Obviously, small scope for analysis paralysis, but it's a 2-player game, so the uptime is going to be fairly decent anyway. Replayability wise is excellent for a little game like this. I mean, 18 cards, I don't think there is much of a better game that can give you kind of more bang for your buck in terms of its replayability, and not only that, out of its sheer small number of components in relation to its replayability is quite astounding, to be honest. As you can see, all these different scoring options are going to completely change your experience from game to game. Component quality, I mean, the cards are very good quality, as I believe all ButtonShy games are. Nice clean symbology. I do like the way the game looks. And the theme works well as well. I mean, I think they tried to be somewhat thematic. Happy cows. You don't want your cows cold, so you want to get them away from the snow terrain. Setup and teardown time as well is obviously an absolute doddle. It takes about 1 minute to set up. Obviously, as the game progresses, your puzzle's getting more and more tight, and you're going to have to kind of sacrifice things to benefit other things. So weighing that option is very cool. Yeah, it just works extremely well, and I'm really happy with the game. I think in terms of two-player games, this one is probably the best one I've played in quite some time. Particularly impressive because it's such a small little package. So I recommend this one. If you like your ButtonShy games, this is definitely one to check out. It takes absolutely no shelf space. That's literally the whole content of the game. So yeah, really recommend this one. That is Circle the Wagons by ButtonShy Games.